Okay, so this presentation all about AI and speaking feedback. Wow. I feel like we keep saying this, but it really does feel like things are changing so fast.
Right. It's like we're on the edge of this like a revolution, and how we learn and practice speaking. Like it's a total paradigm shift.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about it getting like instant personalized feedback like every time you practice. And it's not just like, oh, you made a grammar mistake. It's deeper than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. The presenter really focused on that, like how AI can actually personalize the learning process. And that's what I was most struck by reading this.
Yeah, I agree because, I mean, that kind of support, that could be huge for everyone, really. Language learners, obviously, but also public speakers, anyone who wants to get better at communicating. It's such a fundamental skill.
For sure. And the cool thing is they actually dug into the specifics. 2 AI tools, Turboscribe.ai and ChatGPT, and how they can work together.
Right. So they're not just talking about the theory. They're like, okay, here's how you can actually use these tools.
Exactly. And they went step by step. First, analyze the speech, then identify errors. And then, this is the really cool part, suggest improvements.
Yeah.
But improvements that are like tailored to the learner's level.
Yeah. And it's not just about fixing grammar, which is what I thought at first.
Right, like just basic error correction.
Right, exactly. But it's like the AI can actually look at the nuances of your speech, like pacing, tone, even how complex your sentences are, like things that a human speech coach might pick up on.
That's what's so different about this. It's like it's not just correction. It's actually understanding like what makes communication effective and then helping you get there.
Exactly. I think it was the story about the sweater that really made it click for me.
Oh, yeah. The student telling the story about the woman buying a sweater.
Yeah, exactly. And the AI, it was wild. It caught the grammar errors, of course. But then it rewrote the story, at different proficiency levels, making it sound smoother and more natural each time.
I loved that example. It was a really clever way to show how the AI can analyze different levels of speech and then give feedback that's appropriate for each level.
Totally. It's like having a personal language tutor,
Yeah.
One who can show you okay, here's how you could say that better. And then here's how you could say it even better than that.
Exactly. And they actually analyzed those rewrites using a language proficiency tool. So they showed that the AI was accurately matching the different skill levels.
It was actually really impressive. It wasn't just, making stuff up. It was really tailored and precise.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that part too.
And then there's the 5-step prompt, which I really want to get into because it seems like that's the key to how this whole thing works.
Right. I was so intrigued when I saw that. It seemed like a very systematic way of using these tools.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful.
Well, and they didn't just talk about it. They actually had the audience try it out during the presentation.
Oh, it was cool.
Yeah, so it's not just theoretical. They're here, do this, see how it works.
I like that approach, very hands-on, very practical.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so step 1. You record yourself telling a story, just whatever language you're learning, right?
Yeah, and they specifically said to use a language where you'll make mistakes. Don't try to be perfect. Embrace those mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Get in the learner's mindset. They even said it's add a little twist to the story, like a false detail to make it more interesting.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
So you record yourself, Turboscribe generates a transcript, and then what happens next?
So then you listen back to the recording, and you check for any automatic corrections that the AI's already made.
Yeah.
Because, speech recognition isn't perfect.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll mishear a word or something.
Exactly. So you got to clean up the transcript a bit. And then that's when the fun starts. You use ChatGPT to actually analyze your speech and give you feedback.
And that's where this 5-step prompt comes in.
Exactly. Yeah. It's it's a set of instructions. You're telling ChatGPT how to look at the transcript, how to assess your proficiency level, and then how to tailor the feedback so it's appropriate for you.
Okay. I'm ready. Hit me with these 5 steps. What's step 1?
Okay, so steps 1 and 2 are all about error identification and correction. But it's done in a really interesting way. So step 1, ChatGPT actually highlights the errors in the transcript, but it doesn't correct them right away.
Oh, interesting. So you have a chance to see them, to try to catch them yourself.
Exactly. It's encouraging you to engage with the material to try to self-correct, which is a really important skill, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Noticing your own mistakes, that's huge. Okay, so then step 2.
Step 2, ChatGPT reveals the corrections.
Yeah.
So you can see what you got wrong and how to fix it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then Did they give any, like, specific examples of the kinds of errors the AI caught?
Oh, yeah. Like one example was a student said she likes a lot her new sweater. And the AI was like, hey, it would sound more natural to say she really likes her new sweater.
So it's not just, like, pure grammar rules.
No, it's about style, too. Like how to actually sound. And they emphasize, like, the learners should really take time to understand those corrections. Maybe even make notes about them, to really solidify it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Okay, so we're through steps 1 and 2, and it sounds like a lot of thought went into designing those first 2 steps, but you said the magic happens in steps 3, 4, and 5, right?
That's where it gets really exciting.
Okay, lay it on me. What happens next?
So in steps 3, 4, and 5, the AI actually creates improved versions of what the learner said, but like at progressively higher proficiency levels. So you can kind of see like a roadmap of how your speaking could get better.
So it's like step 3 is still at the same level as the original recording, but just like polished. All right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like taking the learner's raw ideas and making them flow better. Like showing them, okay, even at your current level, here's how you could express yourself more effectively. And then step 4 kicks it up a notch. The AI generates a version at the next proficiency level.
So it's starting to use more challenging vocabulary, grammar, that kind of thing, but still building on what the learner already knows. It's like giving them a little taste of what they could sound like, if they keep learning.
I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Because it can be so motivating, right? To hear your own story told in a more sophisticated way. Like it makes you want to get there, to keep pushing your skills.
For sure. And then step 5, right? That's the final one. That takes it even higher, to a second level above the original recording.
Yeah. So you get this incredible progression, from basic to intermediate to advanced, all based on your own speech.
That's really cool. And I guess, like, depending on your starting point, you could kind of jump in wherever makes sense, right?
Right, exactly. Like someone who's already at a higher level, maybe they start with step 4 or 5. And a beginner could focus on those first 2 steps, the error correction part.
Yeah, totally. It's adaptable, which is really important. It's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but did they, like, actually play examples of how these different versions sound? Like, how did the AI make it actually sound like someone speaking at a different level?
Oh, yeah, they did. They used a synthesized voice so you could actually hear it. And it was, like, really impressive. The AI was able to, like, change the pronunciation, the intonation, all those little things that make a difference.
That's so cool because, like, you can see the changes on paper, but hearing it, that's got to be much more impactful.
Right. And the presenter was saying that even if you don't, like, memorize every new word or phrase, just hearing those more sophisticated versions over and over, that can actually help with language acquisition.
It's like you're absorbing it without even realizing it almost.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's based on your own speech, it's personalized. It's relevant to your learning journey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the sweater story? Did they give any specific examples of how the AI, like, changed the language at each level?
Oh, yeah, they did. Like, one example, the original sentence was, the woman asked her how much it cost. And at the same proficiency level, the AI changed it to, the woman asked her how much it had cost.
Oh, so it's subtle, but it's like a more advanced grammar structure, right?
Yeah, exactly. Past perfect tense. So it's adding nuance to the storytelling, but it's not, like, overwhelming.
Right. Okay, cool. What about the next level up?
At the next level, it became, the woman was curious and asked how much it had cost. So, just adding that extra detail about the woman's state of mind, it just makes it richer.
Yeah, it does. Okay, and then the most advanced version.
So in the most advanced version, they actually restructured the whole sentence. They shifted to the conditional tense. The woman was curious and asked how much it would cost.
Okay, so that's a big jump.
Yeah, but it makes sense, right? Because at that moment, the woman doesn't know how much the sweater cost. Like, she's asking about the future. So the AI was able to capture that, to reflect that understanding of time.
Wow. It's actually, like, really smart. It's not just, throwing in fancy words randomly. It's actually making the language more accurate, more clear, more impactful even.
And the presenter shared this anecdote. They used this whole process with their granddaughter. And apparently, like, her speaking skills just took off.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. Of course, everyone's different. But, it's a real-world example of how this stuff can actually work.
That's so encouraging to hear. Okay, so lots of potential benefits here. But I'm also curious, what about the downsides? I know the presenter mentioned that these AI tools aren't perfect.
Right. Like, Sometimes the proficiency level assessments can be a little bit off, or the synthesized voice might not sound totally natural.
Yeah, and there's the whole thing about like relying too much on technology. Could that actually like make it harder to learn in the long run?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you're always getting feedback from the AI, are you actually developing your own ability to, like, catch your own mistakes?
Exactly, yeah. So it seems like, it's all about balance. These tools should be like supplements, not replacements.
Right. They can be super helpful, but you don't want to become dependent on them.
And I guess ultimately it's up to educators, to use these tools in a smart way. Think about each student, their needs, their learning style, all that.
The presenter actually talked about that. They said this 5-step prompt is just a starting point. They encourage teachers to, like, play with it, change it, adapt it, and even share their own versions with other teachers.
Oh, that's awesome. Like a collaborative approach.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone can learn from each other, and we can keep making these techniques better and better.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked a lot about language learning, but the presenter also mentioned some other applications, right? Like beyond just learning a language. What were some of those?
Yeah, they did. And it all comes back to that same idea. Personalized feedback.
Yeah.
But for different skills.
Yeah.
Like they're trying it out with public speaking.
Oh, interesting. So like you could record yourself giving a presentation and then get feedback on like your pacing, your tone, all that.
Exactly. Like, are you using rhetorical devices effectively? All that kind of stuff.
So it's almost like having a virtual speech coach.
Yeah. Someone who can tell you, like, okay, here's how to make your delivery stronger, your message more impactful. And they even talked about using it for just like everyday conversations. Interpersonal skills.
Oh, wow. Now that's really interesting. How would that even work?
Well, think about it. Like some people have social anxiety,
Yeah.
right? Or they have trouble expressing themselves clearly in conversations. So what if you could practice those situations? Like record yourself, and then the AI could give you feedback on how you're coming across.
That's amazing. I could see that being so helpful for so many people, like
Yeah.
building confidence, and just like learning how to communicate better in those everyday situations. It's almost like having a rehearsal space for real life.
Yeah. And they even mentioned the therapeutic potential, like for people with speech disorders, it could be a way to practice and improve in a safe environment without judgment.
Wow. The more we talk about this, the more applications I can think of.
Right. It feels like with every new development in AI,
Yeah.
the possibilities just keep expanding.
It's pretty mind-blowing, honestly. What I keep coming back to is like the presenter's overall vision. Like they seem so optimistic about the future of education, like how AI can really personalize learning for every student.
Yeah, I felt that too. Like they were genuinely excited about it.
Yeah, it was inspiring actually. Because they talked about how, right now education is still very much like one size fits all. But with AI, we could actually move away from that.
Right. Like imagine a world where every student gets a learning plan that's just for them.
Exactly. Like instead of just, taking a placement test and getting a score, you get this detailed analysis of your skills, your strengths, your weaknesses.
And then the AI could say, okay, based on that, here's what you should be learning next. Here are the resources you should use. Here are some exercises you could try. Maybe even like connect you with other learners. Like it could create this whole customized path just for you.
Wow. It would be like having a personal tutor who's available 24/7. And it would always be adapting to your progress. Like if you're doing really well, it could challenge you more. And if you're struggling, it could give you extra support.
Right. It would be incredible.
Yeah.
Especially for students who need more attention or who, maybe they don't have access to good schools.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the potential impact is huge.
And this ties into something else the presenter said about learner autonomy.
Oh, yeah. That's so important. Giving students more control over how they learn.
Exactly. Like with these tools, you could set your own goals, track your own progress, experiment with different strategies, and get feedback whenever you need it. It's not about being passive anymore. It's about being active in your learning.
And I guess, from the teacher's perspective, that could free them up to focus on, the things that only humans can do, like facilitating discussions, mentoring students, creating those really engaging experiences that go beyond just, the content.
Exactly. It's not about replacing teachers. It's about giving them the tools to be even better teachers.
That makes a lot of sense. And what's really exciting is, we're just at the beginning of all this. Who knows what AI will be able to do in 5 years, 10 years.
It's hard to even imagine, right? Like we've already seen so much progress in just the past few years.
The presenter said something that really stuck with me. They said, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Yeah. It makes you think, Like, if AI can already do all this with speaking, what other skills could it help us develop?
Right. What if we could have AI tutors for writing, for music, for art, even for, thinking itself?
Wow. The possibilities are truly endless.
Well, that's a perfect note to end on, I think. It's been a fascinating deep dive, and it's given us a lot to think about. And as always, we want to leave you with a question to ponder. If you could have a personalized AI tutor to help you improve any skill you wanted, what would it be? And how would you use it? Think about that, and maybe we'll revisit this topic in a future deep dive.